All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. Team Forever Strong's Leaders Call tonight on February 18th. We just got off of an awesome call with Amy Silverman, the #2 coach in the company. So I don't know about you guys, but I am totally fired up. And I hope that you guys took notes. And I know a lot of the stuff was, things that you already know and that you hear all the time, but sometimes it just clicks when you hear it from somebody else versus, the mama bear. All right, so tonight we're going to just talk about, just slowly being able to, spread your wings and fly from the nest and lead your own team. So I can't see anybody on the screen, but I'm assuming and hoping everybody has their coach sneak peek up and running. That's good if you do. Perfect. And hey, Lauren. So if you guys spent any more than like 3 hours working on your coach sneak peek, then you spent way too much time on it. So just if there's anybody on this call that hasn't got theirs up yet, definitely get it up. But you know what? Use my template. You can have the files for it, tweak it. You can break it down and compress it to just a couple of days if you want. Just recreate the introduction video and the closing video. Tweak it a little bit. But just, you heard what Amy said, especially on the call too. I mean, don't go crazy changing things. You're going to kill yourself doing it. So sneak peek should be up and running. You should be inviting to them, regularly. That's the first, step to, start to show your team that you're the leader. Okay. So I'm assuming that all of you guys have your team page up and running. So that was one of the first things that I did. When I became a coach, I actually got my team page up and running like right from the beginning as a coach. I don't tell my coaches that they have to do that when they come on, and decide they want to be active coaches. But I did have it up and running probably like a week into coaching. And, at that time, I just used it for a place to go where all my, discount coaches went. And I always told them that I had this, team page, Team Forever Strong, for extra support and motivation. And I asked them, if they wanted to be added. I never just added people to groups just to add them. I always got their permission first. So I would ask them, and a lot of times, they would want to be added. And I just used that page. It was really quiet. Like you've had sometimes those challenge groups from the past, I know I have, where like you're posting and no one's interacting. That's how it was, guys, when I first started. And I don't even think that you guys were coaches at this time, but like I literally would have challenge groups where like people were in them, but like no one was participating. But, I still kept showing up every single day. And it's the same thing with your team page when you start. It's going to sound like crickets, There's going to be times, actually most of the time, where you're not going to have any participation. People aren't going to like your post. But just still show up every day. And what I did was I just used it mainly as just a page for motivation. Like it was basically strictly for motivation. I put a lot of, motivational quotes in there, inspirational things, recipes. I posted a lot when our challenge groups were going to be starting up. If there was going to be another group starting up, I would, write in there and say like, who wants to do PIO next? Let's do this together, blah, blah, blah. And I would kind of lead it like that. So that's how I started out. And so all my discount coaches went in there. Once I started to have about 4 or 5 active coaches, then I slowly started to change and I slowly started to add in things from my upline coaches page or that I found on my own about coaching that could help them grow as coaches themselves. And I would start to mix that stuff in. So it went on for a good, I'd say like, I don't know, 6 months maybe, where I ran my team page like that and really didn't have any interaction. Maybe the occasional 1 or 2 people would comment in, but it was pretty dead in there. And then over time, as I started to add more people and I started to grow my team and get more active coaches, like I said, right around when I had like 4 or 5 active coaches was when I started slowly shifting it and started doing a combination of like motivational stuff and things, to help my coaches grow on the team and build their own teams. I started to kind of add that in. And then over time, it just slowly becomes more and more. You add another active coach, you get another active coach, and then you get 10 active coaches, 20 active coaches, 50 active coaches. And then eventually it just turns into, a page for like Team Forever Strong now, where it's, everything to kind of help coaches grow and develop their businesses so that they're successful as coaches, with a combination of, lots of recognition. And, I just like to run my team like that anyways. I like to have that whole like friendship, culture and positive climate, and, recognizing people for other things like birthdays and road races that they're running in, and babies that are being born, weddings. So you can kind of do whatever you want with your own team page, but that's kind of how it, kind of grows. So it's got to start somewhere, and just know that, it's normal for it to be completely dead at first. I stayed in my upline. I stayed in Elizabeth Harkey's page and I'm still in there now, but I was adding my active coaches as I brought them on. I was adding them to my page, and then I was adding them to her page for at least a solid full year, because you want to think of like your upline coaches as pretty much, it's like training wheels for you. You use them as training wheels. They've been in it longer. They know the ins and the outs. They've had success. And so you're in there just learning as much as you can until you're at the point where your team is big enough and you feel confident enough to kind of take them and lead them on your own. And so I would add them to mine, and then I'd add them to hers. And then once I hit the year mark, I think it seriously was a full solid year of me like actively recruiting coaches every single month and building my team. I finally reached the point where, Team Forever Strong just blew up and went crazy and got really big and was growing really fast. And I felt confident enough to break away. I felt that they didn't need that extra group, because it's a lot of groups when you become a coach, to add them to all these different groups and stuff like that. And I just felt like it wasn't necessary. So I stopped adding coaches to her page. So I'm still in it. And my coaches, like from the beginning, who have been in this now for like 10 months plus, they're still in it. But my new coaches now that I bring on, they just are part of Team Forever Strong. So you can kind of do the same thing too, whatever works for you. It's your own business, so really just do what you're comfortable doing. Then I started to, slowly start to break away, and do, the team calls, where I would just do, a team call, my own team call for like a half an hour every other week. And there'd be like 3 people on it, and that's okay that there's not that many people on it. It doesn't matter. Everybody starts somewhere. The most important thing is that you're doing them, and then it grows over time. So I would do like a call like for my team, and then the next week we'd all hop on, Elizabeth Harkey's team call. Even today, if I see that she has like a really great call coming up, or she has like an awesome guest speaker, I'll tell the team, listen guys, like we're going to do this instead, because I think that this is what we need. Like this is what we need to hear. So you can play around with it, and definitely just start doing team calls like right away. You can do them even just once a month if you want to, like, the first week of every month, second week of every month, whatever works for you and your schedule. But just get out there. It's important that your team, gets to see, the closeness, and, it's just a good bond when you're on the call and it's just a few of you, and it's just more intimate, and they can talk, and you can grow, and you can share strategies, listen to each other's whys, and kind of go that route. Okay. Sorry here. I'm just fixing a couple things. All right. Then, actually, what happened to me, guys, too? I literally almost wanted to like poop my pants when this happened to me. But it was probably like, I don't know, maybe it was like, I don't know. I think I was seriously like 5 or 6 months into this business as a coach. All right. And I mean, I know that I moved fast and everything, but I was using Elizabeth Harkey's Coach Basics training, which was all from like Keith Callahan. You know what I mean? It's all handed down. You tweak a little bit as you go, you hand it down. You want to be duplicatable. So I was using that and plugging all my coaches in, and I was still a new coach. I mean, when you're 6 months in, you're still a new coach. And all of a sudden she made this big announcement on her team page that, or maybe she made it in her leaders page. She made it in her leaders page. Okay. The diamond group. So say I said to you guys are no longer allowed to be part of my Coach Basics training. You guys are on your own. You need to go out there and do it yourself. So, the next one that's coming up, is going to have to be on your own. And I was like, oh my God. Like I literally almost had a heart attack, because I was only a coach for 6 months, and I was using her stuff, and it was just like, oh my God, like I can't create a whole month training. I was like, oh my God, I was like contacting coaches on my team at the time. I only had a couple, like, what am I going to do? We were like trying to figure it all out. And finally Liz was like, no, listen, it's okay. Like you're new, like you can stay in it for another round. And you know what? I did. I stayed in for another round, and then I was just like, you know what? Like, it was kind of good to get that push. It was kind of like I can totally handle this, you know? And it was true what she was saying, you know, don't reinvent the wheel. That's why I always say that to you guys too, because it's been taught to me, and then I teach it to you, and then so on and so forth. You should be teaching your team that as well. And so I took the training, and it wasn't perfect, and I tweaked it a tiny bit, and it's not what I want it to be, but it works. And coaches are developing and are having success on the team, and that's what I did. And so sometimes that little push to just get out there and do it is just the confidence that you need to kind of like start doing these small steps. And so I am not telling you guys that you need to go out and run your own Coach Basics. I don't recommend it right now, to be honest. But the sneak peek is the place to start. I saw Michelle had a question here. He said, when did I start running my team calls? So I just posted my team call the other day. My very first one was February, and so I was a coach for 7 months. Yeah, 7 months. So I was a coach for 7 months, and you know, I started doing it, and I probably could have started it before then. I probably could have, you know. And like I said, I sent the picture of it to you guys in the team page. There were only like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of us on the team call. It really doesn't matter. You know, the most important thing is that you're doing it and showing your team. It's more about really showing your team that you are the leader and just stepping out there and being the first one to make that step and coming out of your comfort zone. Trust me, guys, I hated doing videos. Like, I still don't even like them, you know, but I did it because, you know, I knew that I wanted to build a team, and I wanted people to look at me as the leader, not the follower. So just step out there and start running them as soon as possible. And let me see here. I'm just reading the chat before I move on to the next thing. Team calls. La, 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 la. Yeah, Kelly goes, please don't do that to us about kids. Trust me, I won't. Okay. All right, so I didn't miss anything else here. All right, so be efficient with your time. So we're all busy, and you know, you heard Amy Silverman on the call before. You know, just be efficient with your time. You know, it's great if people want to go off and you guys want to go off and run all these different groups and do all these trainings and all that stuff, but do the basics first. Do the core activities first, no matter what. Do the power hour first before you do anything. And then if there's extra time, that is when you take it and spend a small amounts of time, you know, working on that training or creating that new sneak peek, or, you know, working on your like page, growing your Instagram, whatever it is that you want to do. It's great. You can do all that, and you should do all that if that's what you want to do, because it's your own business. But always do the power hour first before anything. And I like her tip that she gave too, and I kind of live that way too, where she said, you know, she never goes to bed, you know, without, you know, making sure that she sends those invites out. That's really key to the business. And she's the number 2 in the company, guys, and she still does these invites, follow-ups, you know, all this stuff. It never changes no matter how far along you get in this business. So always stay with that, no matter how big your team is, no matter how many active coaches you're bringing on, stick with that no matter what. And just remember too, whatever you're doing, this is really important. It needs to be duplicatable. I remember when I first became a coach, Keith Callahan, who's in the Millionaires Club, he's Elizabeth Harkey's upline coach. He's been doing this for 4 years. And I remember him, you know, doing the Coach Basics calls with us and doing the training videos for us. And I remember him saying, whatever you do needs to be able to be duplicated in your downline. You know, your coaches are going to do what you are doing. And so that's another reason why when things were handed down from Keith to Elizabeth Harkey, and then I took it, I didn't really change it so much, because like Amy said, they are having success in this business. You know, Keith Callahan is earning $1 million a year. Elizabeth Harkey is like well into the 6 figures, you know, and is about to retire her husband and everything, which he could have retired a heck of a lot long ago. You know, they're having success. So why am I going to spend all this time recreating something that has been working? And I know that it's working because they are super successful in this business. And so it's good to make it your own, you know, and keep that backbone, like what Amy mentioned, you know, but don't go crazy trying to literally redo everything, because duplication, guys. And if your coaches, if your active coaches, which they are watching your every move, if they are seeing you spend all this time getting frazzled creating a coach sneak peek or a Coach Basics training, or they were maybe in one like a sneak peek or, you know, Coach Basics, and now they're seeing you do one totally different and they're seeing how much time you're putting into it, they're going to be like, holy moly, like I'm never going to be able to branch off and do my own thing because look at how much time and effort they're putting into this. Like, this is what I have to do to get to that level. Like, it's going to scare them off, you know? So whatever you do, just keep it simple. Like, do not overthink things. You know, that's what I mean when I said, like, your coach sneak peek shouldn't have taken you more than 3 hours. It's copy and paste, tweak a couple of the wordings, use a lot of the same videos, plug in some of yours, and you know what? Get back to basics. And when you have time, you really don't like this one video that's in there, all right, go back then and redo it and tweak it as time goes on. But people are not going to decide that they don't want to be a coach because of, you know, the content, your sneak peek, because of the content in your sneak peek. They're not. They're not going to be like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's 5 days, or oh, I don't want to do this because it's 3 days and they didn't talk about X, Y, and Z. That's not going to happen. The most important thing is that you have the content up and then it's coming from you so that people know that, all right, this girl's legit. You know, she's got her own sneak peeks, like she's running her own business. You know, I can trust her. Like, she's going places with this. She seems reliable. Like, she's obviously serious. You know, yeah, I'm in. I want to go with her. That's all they want to see. They want to see you behind the camera a couple of times. That's it. No big deal. Okay. And that's pretty much all that I really wanted to say about, you know, kind of branching off and running your own team. You know, it happens slowly over time and it's different for everyone. It really just depends on when you're comfortable, but some people do need that little like push, you know, like, okay, time to go. You don't want to see them go, but you get to a certain point where, you know, you start having a lot of active coaches on your team and they're working, you know, and they are actually, you know, they're hitting Success Club and they're having success. Then it's time to start to, you know, be more involved with your team. So just do it slowly over time. Start with the coach sneak peek, get that up and going. You know, I have all the files you can use if you're on this call or if you're listening to the replay and you haven't done it yet. I mean, if you're a brand new coach, there are some exceptions, guys. All right. And I know I reached out to a couple coaches on the team about this. All right. There are some like newer coaches who just hit the ground running that are in this page that are leaders, you know. And so if you have only been a coach for a couple months and, you know, you've hit the ground running and you're hearing all of this, like, you don't have to go out right now and go ahead and create a sneak peek. But if you've been in this for a long time now, you know, then it's time to spread your wings and fly a little bit. So if you're brand new to this page, like, don't freak out and think you need to go out and do a coach sneak peek right off the bat. Okay. So start with that. Keep it simple. Use what I use. Make it your own a little bit. Start doing a team call, you know, once a month, every other week, whatever works for you. You know, post in your team page. So get that team page up and running. Make sure you're posting in it and showing up in it every single day, no matter what. It's just like how I tell you to, how important it is to post on social media so that people are watching you, all about the consistency. It's the same thing when you are trying to grow this business and build your team, because your coaches are watching you. So just like you're putting on social media every day that you're coaching and you're doing the 21-day fix and you're seeing these results and I'm drinking my superfood shake and I'm doing this, and they're watching you and they're like, oh, she's serious. Okay, oh, this works. Your coaches are watching you every single day, post in the team page. Like, oh, she's serious. Like, she's the leader. She's having success. They're watching your every single move. So, you know, like Amy said, the basics, you know, hit Success Club, do it every single month, you know, do the invites, do the follow-ups, add new friends, get the power hour done every day, and then post in your team page no matter what. I'm not going to tell you how many, I can't tell you how many times people would not even comment on my posts in there. And some of the coaches who have been here for a long time know, like, how different my team page is now than it was when I first started 20 months ago. But everybody starts in the same place, guys. But it's all about being consistent every single day. Does anybody have any questions about this topic at all, about, you know, like branching off? You can just unmute yourself and ask a question, or if you want to type it in the chat. No? All right. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you guys because I know we had a long night tonight. I like to kind of keep these calls, you know, on the shorter side because we had the team call and then we had this, and I know you guys have got to get back to your power hours, right? And get inviting and all that. So I hope that you guys Have a great weekend and keep your eyes open. I'm going to be posting in the team page for our Diamond Retreat, guys, coming up May 19th to May 22nd. I am so excited to show you guys this place that we have. It is like amazing. Like when I say luxury diamond retreat, no joke. So I'm going to be posting all the requirements and the criteria so that you can be there. So keep your eyes open for it. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.